GunninGamerz here. I've got a great video for you today. We're going to be looking at the P-51D Mustang from A2A. I've been waiting quite some time to bring you this video. Very excited to do this today. The last couple of weeks I've been trying my best to learn how to fly this aircraft. I've only had about maybe 10 or 12 takeoffs and landings, so this is going to be very much still an intro flight for me as it is for you. We're going to basically just go ahead, run through the startup procedure, hope for a good takeoff. I'm going to fly around, buzz the tower a couple times so you can hear that epic P-51 Mustang sound, and then we're going to come in for what is hopefully a good landing. Now we are out here at our brand new base for air hauler, which is Kingman, Arizona. We're not going to be doing air hauler today. I haven't got the money yet to buy one of these Mustangs in. We're probably going to be doing that here in the future with air hauler and then using this to run our narcotics so that we can fly fast and low. Now, if you're a sim junkie like I am, but you've got a side of you that really still likes that adrenaline rush, this is a highly recommended product for you. I have enjoyed every flight I've taken in it so far, and it never ever seems to disappoint me and get my heart racing. Let's go ahead and jump into the cockpit and get this bird off the ground. Now I'll run through the startup procedure very quickly. If you want a more detailed one, head over to A2A's website. They'll give you a nice rundown. They've also got some PDF files and things like that that you can go and do a lot of reading. It's what I've been trying to do for the past week here myself. Well, first things first, we're going to bring our flap lever all the way up, ram air forward, carb heat forward. We've got to make sure that we trim our rudder here to 6 degrees. They tell you to remember 600. So basically you want to get this one right at 6, 0 on the aileron, and 0 on the elevator. There we go, so 600. Now something else to point out, this is an accu-sim plane, so it has all the features of going into your garage and checking out everything to do with your engine. We'll take a really quick peek over here at the compression test. Look at all those 12 beautiful cylinders that this Merlin has. Everything obviously checks out, but I wanted to point out a feature that I kind of like here, and that's the fuselage tank or the aft tank here that you can throw in. Basically that throws the tank in and then you can fill the thing up with fuel. We're not going to be running that today, but if you were to run this tank, you want your elevator trim to be set to 2. If there's fuel in it, if it's full, you want to set it to 4, and I'm guessing maybe 3 if you had a half. I don't know why you'd go with a half, but maybe because of weight. So just remember that 0 if there is no tank, 2 if you do have it, and 4 if it's full of fuel. I want to point out one more thing. Just like a real aircraft, you have to go through and make sure all your fluids are either filled or you have to charge them. Like your oxygen has to be filled if you're going to go up above 12,500. So do keep that in mind. Just like the real deal, you have to go through and fill the fluids. You've also got 2 fuel choices to go through. I think you're normally going to want to run 130. I think they put the 100 in here to simulate maybe what it was like back in the day. And then you've also got your fuel type. We're going to run normal. We're out here in Arizona and the temperatures are fairly mild. So getting back to our left to right here through the controls, we've got that set. Our landing gear should be down. It is. Checking the fuel down here on the bottom, left tank, right tank, we're good to go. Defroster, I just run that about half, and my cabin air temp is about 25. I just do that to keep some air moving through here. This is your fresh air over here. That's turned off. I don't really mess with that. Jumping back up here, you have your mixture right here. This is basically idle cutoff. You've got run, and then you've got emergency rich right here. I don't know what you're going to use that for yet. I'll have to do some reading, but most of the time that's where you run it when you're flying normally, and then that's idle cutoff. So we're going to leave it on idle cutoff until we get the engine started. Here is our prop lever right here for controlling your RPM. And then of course we have our throttle, and I'm just going to crack that just a little bit like that. Moving on to the center here, we have our fuel cutoff. We're going to slide that forward. And this is a very important lever right here. This is basically your tank selector. So what you're going to want to do is always fly on the left, because all the fuel basically that is not used by the engine is sent in a return line to the left tank. So if your left tank is full, it's going to spit it out the overflow and it's going to be wasted. So make sure that you always use the left tank first. If it's full, if there's no room, make sure that you use that first. And then I suppose you'd probably want to go to right after that. You've got your fuselage, which is in the center. These are if you're using the drop tanks, which again, the military version, which will fly here in the future, has this option, and that's where you go ahead and select on those. So we're going to run left right now. Emergency landing gear. This basically releases all hydraulic pressure. So if you were to pull this, your flaps would fall, and the doors underneath the aircraft where the landing gear are would also fall open. So that's if you have an emergency with your landing gear not coming down. We're going to go ahead and keep that in today. Make sure that you press in the brake and set those parking brakes right there. Just let out on that lever. And then if we jump down here, you've got your control lock. That's very important. Make sure that you can move that stick around once that's turned off. All your radios are right here, and we're actually not going to mess with those today, but they're very simple and easy to use, just like any other aircraft. That's going to bring us over to our battery switch and beacon. We want to flip our beacon on to let people know outside the aircraft that we're about to fire this thing up. Here is how you open and close your canopy door. So we've got that open so that we don't fog our windows up. Alright, so now we're ready to finally get this engine running. So what you're going to want to do is flip your fuel boost on. And if your engine's warm, kind of like ours is, I had it running about an hour ago, you're only going to prime for 1 second. If it's cold, you want to do 4 seconds. Again, make sure that you have your magneto switch off because you need to count 6 prop blades coming across the top here before you actually want the engine to start up. That's going to circulate the oil throughout the engine. So we're going to give her 1 second here, and we'll go ahead and hit that starter switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And there she goes, off with the starter. Keeping those RPMs down underneath 1,000, and watch your oil pressure there. It'll probably start to climb up. We got to make sure that we get some oil pressure. We'll flip our mixture to run. Now if this engine was cold, you would see that oil pressure right here shoot right up pretty high, but our oil is still pretty warm. We're a little bit over 1,000, but again, our engine temperatures are actually warm enough that we could go ahead, taxi, and take off right now. Everything looks like it's running real good. We're going to flip on that generator right away to get our battery charge in again. We want to go ahead and get our navigation lights on. We'll throw on our avionics, and we'll keep our strobes off until we get out onto the runway. And it's such a beautiful sound. It really is. And we're running 53 degrees right now, so it's pretty decent outside. Again, running realistic time and weather in here with the Active Sky 16. Highly recommended product. Got a beautiful day out in Kingman. It's really the reason why we came out here. Since our engine temps are warm, we're going to go ahead and start our taxi. We'll turn our brakes off here, our parking brake off. Get my track IR adjusted. Make sure we don't run into anybody's plane here. You want to wait till your oil temperature is up to 15 degrees Celsius before you start your taxi, and 40 degrees Celsius before you start your takeoff procedure. Running up your engine, checking your magneto. One thing I'd like to point out about this aircraft that's really nice, if you are taxiing around, your wheel on the back here, your tail wheel, stays stationary. We'll see if I can show how that's not moving at all. But if you force your stick forward, it actually allows it to turn freely. So you can technically do some pretty awesome maneuvering on the ramp with this thing. It really, to me, is one of the easiest aircraft to taxi around that I've found so far. Now we have a very calm wind today, 220 at 5 knots, so nothing too much to worry about there. I do want to point out, being that we are in Kingman, Arizona, you'll notice a lot of jets that are parked here on the ramp that all look the same. This is very realistic because this is a place I believe that they scrap airplanes. If you look at it on Google Earth, there are a ton of big jets that are parked there, big tube liners that look like they're waiting to be taken apart, disassembled, or recycled. And we are in the Orbix, California area. That's why we chose Kingman. Actually, I'm going to go down here. We want to go all the way down to the end of runway 21. Normally you'd want to taxi in kind of an S pattern just so that you can see in front of you. We know there's no activity at this airport today. You don't have to worry too much about running into anybody. But yeah, it's been lovely to be out here. I'm really enjoying the scenery. Having all the Orbix products, Orbix California, Southern California running, covers all the way out here. And it's what makes this airport look so realistic. What we're going to be concentrating on again today is just taking off, buzzing the strip here a couple times, and then we'll come in for a landing. It'll be like an introductory flight. As you can all imagine, if you flew the actual military version, which again I do have, you don't get all the autopilot and the GPS and everything else. But that's one thing I really like about this aircraft here. It's the old school, but it has some modern conveniences in it. The military version would have a big gun sight here, and we will definitely fly one of those and do some videos of that in the future. I'm going to go ahead and hold short up here. We'll go ahead and close our canopy. It'll get a little bit quieter. This is a very noisy aircraft, but that is what's so neat about it. So what we're going to do is hold our feet on the brakes, or we could use our parking brake, but we want to go ahead and run up to 2,000 RPM. Again, you want to make sure your oil temps are over 40, ours are. You want to check the magnetos left and right, both of them are good. Flip to both. You want to also cycle your prop. We'll do that a couple of times here. Everything's good there. And then you want to see if you have an RPM drop on your supercharger. No RPM drop, we'll go ahead and flip that back into the auto position. You don't want to keep this thing on the ground too long because it will start to get hot. It is fairly cool out today. And over here I did also forget to mention, this is where your oxygen, if you're running your oxygen or had your oxygen mask on, you would see this, all this stuff reading out to you over here. We're not going to be going up that high in altitude today, but that's where you would do that. Let's go ahead and move out to the runway, and well, let's go ahead and taxi out to the runway and hope for a very good takeoff. This thing is, just like its name, a wild Mustang going down the runway. I have had some ugly takeoffs and a few ugly landings, and I've had some very beautiful ones. We're going to hope for the beautiful ones today. But I'm still very much learning, so bear with me here. So as far as my reading up goes, you want to just gradually build your manifold pressure up right here to 35 and let out on the brakes. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and make sure everything is good down here first, which it is. And now we'll go ahead, jump up to 35, let out on the brakes, a little bit of rudder, a little bit more rudder, Let that tail wheel come up. Gradually pull back on the stick. There we go. Landing gear up. We're going to go ahead and get our rudder back to neutral. The rudder trim. And I'll use my track IR here. Alright, we're going to pull our RPMs back. 2,700. Landing gear is good to go. Now we can go ahead and start our climb. You know what I forgot to do? Turn on my strobe light. Oh well. Very beautiful day out here. Gotta watch our airspeed here. Now at lower altitude, this thing can climb at about 4,000 feet per minute. We're gonna take it up to about 10,000. There's our runway right back there. We're going to take this thing up to about 450 knots coming down here. I'm going to be very careful though. I don't want to do anything too crazy once we get up to that speed. There's the city of Kingman, Arizona right down there. Dropping about 6,000 feet here pretty quickly. And we'll buzz that tower so we can really hear some nice sounds. Watch our speed here. Coming in nice and low. Climb right back up to about 10,000 feet. We buzzed the tower pretty good on that one. Maybe this time we'll go more over the runway. That is some major their ear porn though. Just love that sound. I think that's the sound of the Meredith effect that this P-51 has when it flies at a high rate of speed. You have all that cold air going into the intake, going through the radiator, which is making it hot air. It's getting compressed, and it's coming out the backside, which adds some jet propulsion, even though there's no jet engine. It's really one of the things that is so amazing about the P-51 and why it gets so much of its speed, is it's very efficient in the air. I think what I'll go ahead and do is I think we'll swing around here. Gain our altitude back. Now we're up about 11,000 feet. Now we can see our airport right out in front of us. We'll go. Really hammered it hard through that one. I had my manifold pressure up there pretty high. Normally don't want to go over, I think that's 61. 67 there, which is a second red mark, is your war emergency power. I think you're okay to run it up to that for a very limited time. And we'll do a little bit of inverted flying here. Now we're over the 12,500 feet. We would need to be putting on our oxygen mask if we were to stay here for too long. Let's go ahead and buzz her one more time and then we'll take her down for a landing. your mom. Alright, we need to go ahead and get this angry beast to start slowing down. And hopefully come in for a very beautiful landing. Absolutely love the change of scenery that we've been getting out here, though. So pretty to come out here and see something different from the rolling hills of Wisconsin, the dairy land. We've got desert out here. Alright, we've got our airport in sight. And what we're going to want to do is get this thing slowed down to about 200. And we're going to drop our first degree of flaps. Go ahead and bleed off some airspeed here. Drop our flaps a little bit. Getting the alarm there since my gear's not down. Now that we're down to about 170, go ahead and we'll drop the landing gear. That's going to help us slow down some more. Alright, we got 3 green, which means they're down. Get my view fixed here. And I like to come down right on the edge of that green on our airspeed indicator. And we'll just bring her in for a nice soft landing, hopefully. I've honestly had more difficulty getting this thing off the ground than on the ground, but it can be kind of wild going down too. It always gets my heart beating. Alright, we're plenty low enough here. We don't have any obstacles, so... Go ahead and drop the rest of our flaps. And we'll bring her down here, nice and soft, hopefully. Cross the fence about 120. Pull back that throttle. And cut her off. Let her fall back to earth. Just like that. Whoop. Bounce just a little bit. Pull that throttle all the way back. Let the tail come down. Tail's down. Right there, the tail's down. Alright. Whew. Now we can take a deep breath. We got her back on the ground. I'm gonna miss my taxiway here, though. Oh, darn it. I couldn't get her slowed down in time. That's okay. That gives us the excuse to do something else that's pretty lovely with this thing. And that's to taxi across the grass. So you can really hear all the work that's been put in to this aircraft by A2A, simulating what it's like. I'd love to do some grass takeoffs and landings too. We'll open our canopy. Bring our flaps back up. Look at that thing shake around as we go across the grass. Man, that is just outstanding. If you folks haven't been able to get into flight sim, I'm telling you right now, pick up an A2A product. It'll have you sold. You just can't get this kind of excitement and heart-pounding, just an adrenaline rush that I've ever found on the PC, even back to my FPS days. That was such a rush. I'm gonna need to go take a cold shower and a nap after this. We'll just go ahead and park out here on the ramp. Our hangar, what I call our hangar, is right over to our right here, but we'll park in front of the tower. I think they wanted to speak with us. I think we caused a few people to spill their coffee. Very upset in there. Alright. That's good enough. I'll make sure that we pull our parking brake. You see it right there. You hold your brake in, pull it out, and then let your feet off your pedals. And we'll go ahead and cut our mixture right here to idle run. Bring everything down. Just like that, and we can go ahead and turn our magnetos off, turn our fuel pump off, and I forgot to, again, I don't know what's with the strobe light today, I forgot to hit it again there, but we'll go ahead and turn off avionics, generator, and the battery, and then I always like to trim out to 6 degrees when I leave it. Not that I'd miss that, but it just makes me feel better. We'll pull all these down. Let our flaps go down. You can see them draining out there. Everything is good, and then of course our fuel cutoff is down as well. And we might as well go ahead and get our trim right there too. So everything is set, and then you get to sit here and listen to the sound of that hot metal. And just for the heck of it, we'll pull our hydraulic release, and now you all will see these doors falling down on our landing gear. Now you can actually put this aircraft up on jacks if you wanted to, and then run an auxiliary pump for your hydraulics so you can watch your landing gear up and down. We'll probably show that in the future, but that is the A2A accu-sim P51D Mustang. Absolutely incredible piece of software. It feels real life. I mean, this is as realistic as it gets, folks. Highly recommended product. I want to just give them a huge shout out over there at A2A. I know this product's been out for a few years, and just, you know, the fact that I'm getting into flight sim now, it's been such a blessing, because I never will get to probably fly. I know I'll never get to fly one of these in real life. I'll be lucky if I get to fly anything in real life. So it gives those of us who have been big fans of warbirds, been to many air shows, I've just such a fan of aviation, especially World War II aviation, gives us the chance to not only experience what it's like to fly in something like this, but to actually learn about it. So folks, if you enjoy this, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, let me know in the comments what you think, and make sure that you're following us on Twitter so you know when we go live on Twitch, because we will be doing plenty of more flights in this aircraft, as well as the B-17 that I've already picked up, the military version of the P-51. I'll probably be grabbing the Spitfire. I mean, eventually we'll probably have them all. So there's going to be a lot more to come in the very near future. So again, folks, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Again, hit the like button on your way out, and until next time, take care.